Zydus. I'd like to call on stage Mr. Abhisekh Rudra. So please take your seat. I'd like to call on stage Mr. Abhisekh Rudra, Head of HR, Reliance Industries. I'd like to call on stage Ms. Vishakha, Sawlapurkar, Group Head, Performance, Rewards and Workforce Planning from the Adani Group. It's my pleasure to call on stage Hetalkumar Shah, Head Learning and Development and Corporate HR for Havmor Ice Cream. I'd like to call on stage Dr. P.M. Udani, Vice Chancellor of Sankalchand, Patel University. Professor Ami U. Upadhyay, Vice Chancellor of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Mr. Dinesh Awasthi, Vice Chancellor of LG University. And Dr. Priyesh P. Gandhi, Vice Chancellor of Sigma University. We will start this panel in a slightly different way. One of our panelists, Mr. S.K. Bose, he will put his point of view, and he has certain supporting figures to illustrate his point of view, which I think he will know. So I will request Mr. Bose to come and present here and talk about one is obviously the challenge that is there today in acquiring a skilled workforce, and more importantly, how he looks at achieving the synergy with both the academia and the industry so that this can happen more smoothly, and what the Hydrocarbon Sector Skill Council is doing in this regard. So over to you, Mr. Bose.
Thank you, Mr. Sen, for giving this opportunity. Since I belong to oil sector, I have been in oil sector for more than 3.5 decades, and a lot of my panelists are from oil company. I'm very happy to see them. And all the oil companies, both private and public sector, they are the promoters of Hydrocarbon Sector Skill Council. I will not talk about Hydrocarbon Sector Skill Council because everything is there in the public domain. I would like to share a few points which are important for today's conclave. First of all, Gujarat, I call it as a petro state. In India, if you see, Gujarat is a pioneer in many areas, but if you talk about the petroleum, let me give some figure. Out of 255 million metric ton total production, refining capacity of India, 100 million ton are being refined here. You know the companies here, I need not to mention, it's Reliance, Indian Oil and Naira. And secondly, if you see, there are more than 1,000 CNG stations here, and which is largest in the country. We have more than 3 lakhs PNG connection here, and more than 22,000 commercial PNG stations, and more than 6,000 industrial connections. So this is the largest number in any state in India. Besides, there are 55% crude oil production onshore in Gujarat state. There are 32% onshore gas production in Gujarat. So no state can match Gujarat's this. You can say it is a kindness of God Almighty, and this is a labor and the innovation of this state. This state is unique, and this state is unique in many sense. We have listened to Miss Anju Jain, I believe. Anju Sharma. She is Additional Secretary, and she has taken a lot of initiatives. She talked about the National Credit Framework, which is I am very happy to learn that it has originated from Gujarat. And this National Credit Framework gives an opportunity to integrate education and skill. That is the best thing which has happened in national level, and this is the new Bharat, which is going to be, you will see that by 2047, our Honorable Prime Minister has already given a clarion call. By 2047, it will be a developed nation. So if you consider the developed nation and developing nations in India, there is if you see the energy scenario here, we think that petroleum is a bad word. It is not, because this developed nations has a different energy map, energy transition. But developing nation like Bharat or India, it is a different roadmap. You cannot get away with the conventional energy like liquid fuel, petrol, diesel, and of course coal very soon. It will take more than 3 decades to completely get away from this. Even that, after that also we need them, because our energy consumption, per capita consumption, is very low compared to the developed nation. So we have to need everything. Of course, we talk about the energy transition, it will happen. Everybody thinks that it will next overnight it will happen. Everything will be EV, everything will be hydrogen. We wish that, but it is very difficult. Let me talk about EV, electric vehicle. These are the electric vehicle, but they need energy. They need power to charge your battery. The power comes from, again, the source, which is not, it is a conventional source again. It is from coal. So these are not EV, these are EEV. These are emission elsewhere vehicle, though they don't emit in Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta or Ahmedabad, but they emit elsewhere. But are you ready for that? You have to see that. So energy transition will take, but we are, whether the talent needed for the energy transition, we are ready for that or not, we have to see. So what we do at hydrocarbon sector, we are very mindful about the energy which we need for the future. So let me outline few energy which is coming very quickly. That is compressed biogas is coming. Next is 2G ethanol, 1G ethanol, 2G ethanol, 3G ethanol. Out of that, 2G ethanol is very popular. It has come, some 10 plants are already there. CBG is going in a big way. 100 plants will come up in next 2-3 years. And then, of course, solar already you have seen, it is picking up very well. Then green hydrogen, which is again Gujarat is a pioneer, followed by Maharashtra. So green hydrogen, when it comes, so are you ready for that? So what we did at Hydrocarbon Sector Skill Council, we have started creating courses on green hydrogen. So we have created courses for school and colleges also. Just like solar, when we started few years back, solar cost was very high, then slowly it came down. Similarly, green hydrogen, we have a principle of 1-1-1, that is 1 kg of green hydrogen should cost $1 in next 1 decade. But I believe that the way the green hydrogen work is going on, particularly in Netherlands, Australia, and part of Oman also, so they have already started commissioning of some plants. Not commissioning, started constructing some plants. So green hydrogen, technology is progressing very fast. So are you ready? Our college students or school students, are they ready for this green hydrogen technology? When it will come to when the plants will be operating few years from now in Gujarat, whether we have sufficient engineers or diploma engineers to run these plants? So we say right now it is not there. So what we are doing, Hydrocarbon Sector Skill Council, we are mandated to develop these courses, and we have got it approved by NCVT. Today only our 4 courses have been approved. Earlier 1 courses have approved. So all total in other sector council, there are 10 courses have been approved. These courses will be run in school and colleges, so that there will be creating an awareness. Next point is that we have already approved courses on 2G ethanol, compressed biogas. We are running these courses in industry. So we will also run these courses in school and colleges and engineering colleges also, so that students will know what is the technology involved in it. What is happening, there is a lot of gap in industry and academia. Academia thinks that they will continue with the education, and technologies, they also continue with the technology and upgrade, and whenever the new technology comes, they just implement it. But they don't pass on the knowledge to the industry, to the academicians. So once you integrate this knowledge to the colleges, then only the students will know what technology is running in the industry. There is a gap. So our role in hydrocarbon sector is to integrate this, so that students will be ready for this knowledge. Let me give you an example. There is a college called Institute of Chemical Technology there is a university in Mumbai. They set up a small institute with collaboration with Indian Oil few years back, 5 years back, integrated MTech, that is ICT, with collaboration with Indian Oil. So that is a 5 years integrated MTech program. They have 15 tri-semesters. Out of 15 tri-semester, 6 were in the industry. So and 9 were in the classroom. So 6 tri-semester, the students goes to the industry, they learn and work there. So they get the credit. This is a model copied from German model. You must have heard about vocational education training. So when they study for 5 years, they understand the nuances of the industry and they are ready. When they pass out, they are ready for the industry. So it is not true for every engineering colleges. Engineering colleges, they just go for summer training, they learn some technology and they may not be suitable for that industry. But here, students know before joining the industry, they know what technology is available. So one more example I would like to give. We talk about hard skill, we talk about soft skill. Let me give you a background of what is hard skill and soft skill. The term came from US Army. Late 60s, if you see US Army, they fought the war with tank and guns. Tanks are made of steel. Guns are made of aluminum. So that's the term called it is hard skill, because steel and aluminum. But is it necessary that soldiers should know only tanks and guns and steel and aluminum, or they need something else? Later, the behavioral scientists, they realized that army or the soldiers should know soft skill like leadership, like emotional intelligence, because they have to run the war. After completion of the war, they should come back home safely. That is also one of the motto. Like industry, we feel that every worker should go to the industry, come back home happily at his home. Similarly, the soft skill was introduced. So soft skill is not about gun and metals, not about you can say aluminum and steel. So we emphasize on skill in all our skill institute. Soft skills should be given focus. There is research by the behavioral scientists in America. They say that if the students or the practitioners or industrial worker, they were trained on soft skill, their efficiency and the profitability goes up by 30%. That is, if you focus only on hard skill, you may not achieve the target. So my focus is that we should not lose sight of the soft skill. One very recent example, you have seen that the Uttarakhand tunnel incident. There is a lot of technology involved, high-end technology, but finally it is our core learning from the traditional way they succeeded. So never forget about our traditional art or traditional glory. So let me end here with the last one. We have heard about sea sponges. The sea sponges is an animal which lives more than 2000 years. So I am just quoting from the book. The same sea sponges can live more than 2000 years, and despite having bodies, they are soft and porous, and they have sketched structure and are strong and durable. Their capacity to observe, filter, adapt enables sponges to grow and thrive. But here, and it is capacity of the matters that great deal for the human also. Because if you act like sponges and we filter out the best technology and adopt them, then we survive in the marketplace. But here what happens, industry, they absorb the technology, they thrive, but they don't filter out the knowledge to the students, upcoming students. So here the challenge is that when you talk about the talent gap and the technology gap, when you see both of them, we should see that the technology and the talent should match, and we should bridge the gap with the talent and which matches the technology requirement. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that analogy with the sponge and the filtration part. Now, we have both industry and academia here. And I would like to start maybe with the industry. And very two relevant points. One is acquiring people with the relevant skill set, but the next comes, say, hypothetically assuming you acquire people with these relevant skill sets, but how do you retain them? How do you ensure that the retention is effectively done? And also with increasing digital transformation of the organization itself, what sort of these digital tools and techniques are coming which can help in this retention? So maybe I would like to start first with Rupak Rathore on your viewpoints here. Yes, sir. Exactly. Okay. 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 So primarily you are focusing on robust recruitment process, robust induction, and a robust kind of handholding through the first line managers. Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure, I'll come back to you on that. Okay, thanks. Abhishek, Rudra, I'll come to you with the similar questions. One, the challenge in retention, and two, how much are the digital tools and techniques now relevant in that overall process? Okay. Exactly. So that helps them develop the cross-functional skills also and upskilling them also. Okay, thank you. Um, Vishakha, again the same question, retention and the digitization impact.
Yeah, actually, when we're looking at retention, it is important for us to realize that we are dealing with a workforce, no matter where in the country, with a very high aspiration level. Everybody wants to kind of do better than what they were doing the previous day. Stay on top of, stay relevant in what the market is asking of them. And we are a group which is in industries which are traditionally thought of as very, legacy industries, old world industries, whatever, we have mines, thermal power generation, ports. I mean, airports and all, still there is a little bit of a, aspiration factor, but most of our industries are what are considered
Core sector.
core sector. So therefore, it becomes very important to focus on keeping our people relevant, because we are a group which uses, all the technology that we can to deliver what are considered old world industries, so that the way we run them are not old world any longer. So giving the employees the gift of staying relevant is probably one of the best things you can do to kind of work on retention, because yes, there are other standard methods of, payment, retention bonuses, long-term incentives, all of that, they can only work up to a point, because at the core of it, all of us want to stay relevant. So I think as far as retention is concerned, that is something we are focusing on. And also the fact that when you're looking at recruitment, when you're looking at the skills that you're looking to hire, on one hand we are in old world industries, on the other we are in very new age industries.
Sure.
And therefore we know that we can depend upon any external factor to only provide us an entry level skill requirement, and we therefore have to kind of build internally, and also as for like the build and buy, you have to look at borrow and you have to look at borrow, and see how all of that kind of works together
That's
when you're looking at it.
interesting point and very true. Relevant maybe for a lot of the core sector and infrastructure segment companies. Hital, I'll come to you next, and you represent a more a retail kind of industry. So, there, in terms of retention of workforce, the challenges and how modernization is sort of helping there.
Hello. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Well, I represent a company which sells ice creams, which brings a smile on the face of the people when we speak about it. So I represent Havmor Ice Cream, which is now a part of a Lotte Group, which is a South Korean giant. If I talk about when we hire people, I was following this conclave since morning, and I'm very happy to see that all the facets are coming together, be it industry, be it from corporate, be it from the government side, and from the education side. I feel, allow me to speak that one important factor, though it's pretty heartening to see this coming together, important factor for whom which we are discussing all this since morning, which are the actual stakeholders, a student or maybe an aspirant. So I strongly feel that, whenever we make any framework or design anything, it's important to understand what are their aspirations, what are they looking at, because baby boomers and Gen X are deciding futures of Gen Z, which is, to me, good. I mean, with all due respect and with all good intention, but one has to involve, one has to be more collaborative in the process when we design something for them. So that's one. I am very happy to see that the kind of flexibility now being provided in the education. I again would like to add one more thing, which is it should be time agnostic. Like for this many credit, you have to spend this much time. I mean, if somebody is brilliant, why can't he do it in half of the time? Why should he wait for a year to pass on that similar exam, which normally he could have cleared it in 3 months? So that's couple of things which I feel at the education level. Coming to the skills, with lot of automation and AI, the every day it is changing. I mean, it's pretty impossible when we say education needs to be relevant. How many times they will change their curriculum? I mean, every day something new is coming up. So, so I would say rather than focusing on hard skills today, the most relevant skills, and I'm glad that some of the colleges were talking about this, are few behavioral skills, and my earlier panelist also spoke about those soft skills. I talk about three major skills which I feel would be very relevant in current and going forward. One, when you talk about is adaptability and learning agility, because you have to keep pace. You cannot be complacent, मुझे सब आ गया है, I am good for everything now. So that learning agility has to be there. Second, courage, because in this world you get carried away with lot of things. So when we hire people, we look at this, how flexible and how adaptable that person is. What is that learning agility? What is that courage? Whether he or she has that courage to bring a point on the table.
Okay.
And the third one, and the most important, is emotional balance or emotional intelligence. In today's world, it's very easy to get carried away with all those reels and InShots of the world's in place. It's very easy to get that kick, but it's important to manage. How do we manage our emotions? And if these three skills are there with advent of technology and with lot of other tools, I think we can get good people. And I would urge educational institute not to have that tick off activity for those behavioral thing, like महीने में एक बार कर लिया kind of. Please
Okay.
spend time and do focus on that, and that's how we can work together as a synergy.
Got it. So primarily to develop or inculcate that flexibility and learning agility, and that is your advice even for the educational institutions, that they should try to inculcate that better in the students. Okay. So now coming to the education stakeholder perspective, we'll start with Dr. Udani. And my point of view is we touched upon this even in the earlier, one of the earlier sessions. What I would like to understand is when from the academia is working with the industry, what are the challenges that you are facing, or the support, if I may correct it, that you need from the industry perspective to make the students more industry friendly or with those relevant skill sets? Your viewpoint.
Thank you, APAC, for opportunity. Say, higher education or a university education is basically for formal education. There should not be second doubt in mind of a leadership of a university leaders or a directors of a principal of higher education. A 2 years program or a 3 years program or 4 year program, job of higher education is to provide the solid foundation. Certain kind of things related to IT, probably capex is not very large. Whatever skill required by the industry, university authority can meet it. But for example, if I have to replicate digital factory scenario in my mechanical lab, then probably I would require a support from the industry. Something I can do. In a mechanical engineering, any university, any college, you have a software development lab where you can design a product. Then it will go to CNC machine. Then a metal piece will be picked up, and then a product is designed. But everything is isolated. At university level, definitely it is possible. I can have a mobile app. I can give the designing component to 5, 6 different who are expert, maybe within the university system, maybe within the country, maybe outside the country. Everything is controlled by connected world, physical world and cyber world. So once design is ready, it will come back to me. I'll give an instruction to CNC machine. CNC machine will do the job. Even instruction will be given to the robot arm. It will pick up the metal and do the job. So message is certain activities where capex is not very large. Definitely university system is capable of doing it. And definitely in AI, data science, cloud computing, customization, but where hardcore things are required, their capex is very large.
Okay.
And then utilization, a few university who are having a deep pocket may invest, but then utilization will not be up to 100%. So
Okay.
it's not advisable to do this kind
Okay.
of investment and use the facility which is available at industry and
True.
collaborate with them.
Okay.
That is my take.
Thanks, and that's a very interesting point of view that it might not be feasible for an university to always replicate the complete industry environment, especially where, as you mentioned, maybe complex hardware where a lot of investment is required. Okay, thanks for putting up that interesting point. Professor Ami, I'll come to you next. From the academic point of view, again, what are your expectations from the industry so that that can help you develop more skilled workforce for the industry, if I may say?
Thank you very much. It's really a great opportunity to share my views here. I would look at the whole issue as a coin with two sides. First side, when we talk about demand and supply, because when we talk about industry, I would agree to what Hetalji said. Now, I'm reminded of a cartoon that I watched long back in a newspaper, which said that buying new clothes, a man was rushing outside that I want to, and he was asked why. He replied that I want to have a round in the market before it gets outdated. So now with the technology, things are moving so fast. I do remember when mechanical was in demand like anything, mushrooming. And when out of that 10, 12, 15 blocks were there, classrooms were there, and when they came out, it was out of date. It was no more in demand. So first of all, when we talk about demand and supply, the demand is changing too fast. Second, it is not that academics or education can not match with it, but now they have to change the format of it. That 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, industry is very clear that X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are our demands. So at our university, we are state open university, and we have been using this openness very positively for creating customized tailor-made courses. What we have done, we have signed MOU with FICCI and so many industries. We have introduced many customized tailor-made courses. We ask them, one, to what are your expectations? And the syllabus is introduced in that way. So this is first side. Second, I would say that unfortunately, what are expectations? I have met as an individual with owners of the companies, CEOs with the companies. Some of them are so clear that these are our requirements. And somewhere they start fumbling that we want people matching our needs. And then when they are asked what are their needs, they are not much clear. And yes,
Okay.
I would say that adaptability is very important.
Okay.
And that I think education institute need to focus on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So the second point is very relevant that you are saying that there is still a lack of clarity among the industry itself in terms of what they really want. And the first point is also very interesting. When you talk demand and supply, but if the demand is so flexible and so changeable, if I may use the word fast, then to keep up with it is, especially from an academic point of view, when in the previous panel we touched upon the faculty, it's very difficult. Okay. Dinesh Awasthi, I'll come to you next. Again, the same question. Your expectation from the industry. Your expectation?
May I know your name, please?
I'm Rajneesh.
Rajneesh. Actually, the whole issue of what academia looks forward from industry is putting horse before the cart. But first, let industry be clear what they want from academics. Number two, as Dr. Udani was talking about, academia is by and large, in India I'm talking about, is somewhere like now 10 years catching period. We are 10 years behind industry because we cannot invest with changing technology. It's not possible for any university because technology will change after 5 years. what do we do with those machines and establishment? So that is difficult. Now, the next thing which we want from industry, not only for a skill point of view, but generating knowledge, generating new product point of view. That industry should come forward and start working together with academia to develop new products. I mean, this country of 1.5 billion people, we have not yet come up with any product like Tesla is there and Microsoft is there. Not a single product we have. Why? Because industry has never been open to collaborate with academia. And whatever you have,
That might be relevant. That might be relevant for IT. Yes, IT, not too many products, but in many other sectors.
Tell me one single product which is world class, which is named outside, and which is not imitated from outside. Not a single product. We have imitated every damn thing in this country. Now, if you really want strong academia and industry focus and partnership, it cannot be confined only to the training of institutions. We are not supplying machines. Now, we are one who would like to collaborate with you, and once we have research projects, now those students are being trained automatically in those products. So they are with the cutting edge technology. When they come out, they are with you with the cutting edge knowledge, understanding, because they have worked on those live projects.
But here again, what you are mentioning, I'll play the devil's advocate.
Yeah, please.
And
please.
maybe take the industry point of view. My question is how conducive really, and frankly, I want a frank opinion, the academia itself for a research kind of environment. We know even the PhD thesis, what goes on behind, we have heard a lot of stories. So how trained are the, or not trained, I will say, how the academia itself, how conducive is the environment there for a research-based kind of, because that ultimately, what you were saying rightly, leads to that acumen for product development.
Look, when it comes to NAC kind of things, 30% of weight is given to research. Otherwise, you are not there. As far as ranking is concerned, as far as your A+, and those things are concerned, your C or D, nobody comes to you. At least start looking at B+, B, A+, A+ universities, which are really good. I mean, see, I have been trying to push my students to go to industries and try to find out what problems do they face. And this was a project which I did not today, but about 10 years back with Professor Anil Gupta. And we had, I mean, we circulated this to all industries, Bangalore, Ahmedabad and all that. We got about 6,000 problems. That they are facing these problems, what to do. And then we started matching engineering colleges with the problems in that area.
That's
And I can tell you about 70% of the problems were solved with very, very little investment. We have done
that's
this.
heartening to know, and maybe that needs to be scaled up
So-
and
so
more
I mean,
capacity building done on that.
You have to think out of the box. We cannot,
Sure.
I mean, we cannot talk today. You're talking of today. I mean, this whole issue of you're talking about recruitment, and this will not be there. You won't be recruiting anybody because students or today's students, they will not be working full time. They will work
Okay.
with 4, 5 people, and you'll be contracting them. That's it.
Okay,
I
so
mean, the scenario is going to
that's
change.
might be still slightly utopian in
Sir,
the
sir,
Indian
sir,
context.
As far as utopian is concerned, I can give you one small example. Give me for half a minute. When telephone was invented, it took 89 years to reach 100 million marks. Okay? Internet took 13 years. WhatsApp took 3 years. ChatGPT took 2 months. And Thread took 2 weeks to reach 100 million mark. Don't underestimate the speed at which things are changing. Please
Okay.
remember, don't be in that illusion. I'll be there and things will happen and we will keep on looking at things happen and we'll be astonished. I
Okay.
think we should be We should get out of this mindset.
Okay, so
But
you are
because
advocating the speed. Great, thank you, sir. Dr. Priyesh Gandhi, next I'll come to you. In your expectation from the industry.
Yes. So I heard from the industry perspective and academia point of view, and one of the point, the Johnson and Hitachi, they have mentioned that they are going to establish the chain of line at some of the universities. So, and I also heard the Sundar Mohan from the last session that the expectation from the academia as far as the industry is concerned. So here I would like to mention that recently one of the industry came to us, Sigma University, and also with the Parul University, and they have signed an MOU, specifically Zydus Industry Private Limited. So what initiative the industry has took, that I would like to mention here, and how we can look forward from here. So they have signed an MOU with the two of the universities in Vadodara. Completion of
Training
course.
is entirely done by the industry, or are the faculty also being trained on?
Yes, I'm coming to that. It may be in terms of HR or in terms of a behavioral skill also. I am not saying that the mechanical engineer cannot go for the HR training. As many of the HR has mentioned that as of now, the soft skill is more important. And every faculty member must be trained for the soft skills so that it can be passed on to the students.
Okay.
So this is the expectation as far as the academia is concerned from the industry, and few of the industries are coming. But now it is on the, and one more suggestion, that many industries are doing in CSR, right? So why the nearby industries, right, cannot add up nearby surrounding 2-kilometer university? As sir has mentioned that it is very difficult to put the hardware in the universities, right? So that can be done.
I got the point. So that was one of my questions for the next round. Okay. So I'll keep this open to all the industry and the skill council person. Two areas I want to, what Dr. Priyesh touched upon. We have seen, and in one of the previous panels we talked out, if we see the Ivy League universities across US and even some of the large European universities, they work closely with the industry in terms of industries will have centers of excellences in the universities themselves, and they function, they do what I would say maybe the R&D for the industry themselves in the say the Intel in Sanford or those kind of things. Now, my point is what he mentioned. What is stopping the industry from going the whole hog? I know there are COEs happening in India too. Is it from the industry perspective more a CSR kind of activity? And that's why it's not really looked upon as a profit center kind of activity. And that's why adequate emphasis is not being given on that. That is one point I would like to have for the industry. And the other point I would like to understand is this, when we are talking about getting relevant workforce with the relevant skill sets, now the catchment area is also bigger, not just restricted to the metro cities, but the smaller, and especially during COVID, when people worked from home, we have seen that there can be more recruitment from much smaller places also, from hinterland. So how is the industry looking at these two point of view? Supporting academia, is it just a CSR kind of activity? And also in terms of their geographical catchment area for people. So I'm keeping it open. Anyone from the industry can take it up. Yes, sir.
Let me come back to the small seed corn again. What about industry acts like a seed corn? Okay, this for 2000 years. Every industry they want to continue their business forever. So what we have been doing COVID, the industry were immediately want to digital platform to survive, and then even doing well. So that's why industry they different for the rest of the industry, which are around them or around them or IIT, like IIT and connection. But they are not going to the real catchment area where the real technology needed to serve the So what's happening? When industry takes the nutrients like corn and grow forever, but some nutrients should come back to the student or the university. It is not happening.
Okay.
University needs support from industry. It's not coming up. You cannot take university alone.
Okay.
Industry developing the technology and they're not going back to the educational institute, not only to IT, but they go to the other businesses.
Sure.
One thing I would like to see, let's say from the CIA analysis, there are more than 32 lakh engineering colleges. We total capacity of engineering colleges in India and Pakistan. Out of that, 80 lakhs, around 60 to 80 lakhs students, I mean, actually they go to college. 9 lakhs they come out. You do not drop out.
Okay.
Supply is more demand.
Okay. Got that. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you talk of industry, is it doing things just for CSR or fact of the matter is industries exist for a certain purpose. There is a inherent profit motive,
Obviously.
which is the reason. So it has to make sense even for the industry.
True.
For example, as a group, we work closely with a lot of academic institutions to create our own programs for our own people. While most of them are saying the areas of leadership development, which all organizations do in some form or fashion, they will have internal leadership development programs in association with ABC, whether it is an ISB, an IIM, or a TUC or a Columbia. We also have kind of recently tied up with NICMA to offer programs in construction management because that is very relevant to us as a business. And that is not something where we get a lot of people available. So it ties in for us in a lot of different ways that we offer it to our GETs who have spent a little bit of time with us. So we give them the chance of kind of building their own skills, staying relevant, work with the academia to kind of build specific programs. So it is never going to be, is industry doing something for academia or is academia doing something for industry?
Okay.
Unless there is a win-win, it is never going to work.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Yes, sir. You would like to.
Yeah, adding to the point of see, we need to create a win-win situation. So Madam said about the reaching out to the institute academia. Similarly, we also reach out to few institutes, and there are few institutes, they are also reaching out to us.
Okay.
That what curriculum you want, we will design as per your need.
Okay.
So we need to create a win-win situation.
Win-win situation for both.
Yes, you would like. Yes.
Every organization has a calendar of finance. And to point that reach out to ideas, and the apprentice organizations. And also we look into the employment exchange. We keep a close tag with them so that we can hire those people maybe in contractual role, but we give a scope to engagement for them also. Similarly, we have GET programs through which we hire people through various levels, and we even have a tie-up with like a CPET in Ahmedabad. So for our line of business, so we have different tie-up systems there. Parallelly, outside these organizations like us, which has a pan-India presence, we also try to groom our employees through online courses like LinkedIn and Coursera. So we invest on that so that we groom our people accordingly.
Okay. Hetal, you would like to add something?
Well, it's more or less covered everything. But just want to say, when you talk about Center of Excellence and creating those world-class, innovative solutions, probably I agree with Vishakha on that. It's an industry. I mean, it has its own motive. So when an industry see a synergy, when industry see even if it's a long-term benefit, industry would certainly work with it. But just for the sake of CSR, just for the tick-off activity, those CSR tick-off activity, I'm sorry being a little blunt, but those tick-off activity won't create Center of Excellence.
Exactly.
It just remain as an activity for the tick mark. So when it's actual when situation then why an industry would shy away from doing that?
Okay, thank you. So I will end with all the four academicians who are present there, and very briefly coming to each of you, very strongly, more or less, all of you reiterated that it's not just expectation, the industry should also come to the academia. So I'll start with you, Dr. Udani. In terms of, very briefly, if I can ask you, next 12 to 18 months maybe, one thing which you expect is a must from the industry perspective?
Say, we are the only university in Gujarat supported by National Skill Development Corporation, and we have rolled out 39 programs and 6 programs would be started. So for a university, whatever additional capacity we have, I am looking from different perspective. Our bread and butter is a full program, whether it is a BSc program or a BCom program or BBA or MBA or engineering program. But we have a additional capacity in terms of faculty, in terms of infrastructure, and canvas is very large. If I see, only agriculture sector is 14 crore skilled workforce. Service sector is a 14 crore skilled workforce. Manufacturing is a 3.5 crore. Then rest of, if put together, we have a 40 crore workforce which requires skilling, not at that high level. It just always university can do the job. And if in government sector, those who have joined the government services, capacity building commission, we had invited officers from Delhi and we had a negotiation. They have a 2 crore workforce working in the government sector. Commission was established in 2021 only. So they don't have capacity to do the skilling. Our infrastructure can be utilized and we can do the job. So canvas is very large. From a university leadership, my perspective is main bread and butter for university is a formal program. Capacity which is to be utilized optimally, we can always provide certain kind of services for a skill sector.
So formalize the capacity building,
We are
if I may
capable,
say.
we can definitely do it.
Okay, thank you. Professor Ami, I'll, your viewpoint here.
I would say that for a woodcutter, sharpening an axe is not a wastage of time. In the same way, I feel that for the industry to invest time and money in academia is like sharpening their axe. That would surely benefit them like anything. So I would, and academics, obviously academic institutes, they have to prove their relevance. So I feel more and more such customized tailor-made courses should come up. So industries and academics should work together like that.
Customized tailor-made courses. Okay, Dinesh.
Yes. Well, most of us have been talking about high-end higher education programs, but I would urge upon all sitting here and including you to look at where are we from where raw material comes for training. Now, if you read SAR report, class 8 pass boy cannot do multiplication and division of class 3. Now, if that is the kind of base we have, how do we even train? They're not trainable. Today's workforce, 31% are uneducated, about 19 to 20% are up to 5th class pass, and some. So wherever you start your skill development, you need
Doesn't
people
make sense.
who have
Can't happen laterally like that.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about what percentage of people we're talking about. We're talking about skill development. 2% or 3%. Well, let us look at that and start from there if you really want to build a nation. Otherwise, we will keep on talking. Sir, you should start with the grassroots. You start in the rural areas. You start with the primary school, primary education, secondary education. If you want to build a nation, it takes 15 years. But after 15 years, you will be where others are. Otherwise, we will keep on talking and seeing. Thank you.
Great, sir. The last word, Dr. Priyesh.
Yes, sir. So we should also think on the future skills also. We are talking about Industry 4.0, but there should be a transition from Industry 4.0 to Industry 5.0. Right. So certain skills that require an attention as far as the academia industry is concerned. So that smooth transition from the industry side or passing of an information from the industry to academia in whatever ways, right? Because that transition also will require a certain amount of skilling. And to identify the future skills, that is also going to be the most important part, because whatever we are going to teach today, it is going to be relevant tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. So with that, we conclude this panel discussion. May I request Shobik to come and hand over a token of appreciation to all the panelists here?